Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be watching this. Welcome to Meet the Teacher. I know it's a very interesting situation. This is not how we're used to doing Meet the Teacher, but here we are. I hope this video won't be a poor substitute for the real thing. Well, to introduce myself, I am Adam Johnson, Mr. Johnson to your students, and I guess I'm just here to introduce myself to you, give you a little bit of information about me, and also a little bit of information about the school and the class, what things are going to look like. Down in the video description, I'm going to leave timestamps so you can kind of skip around the video at your convenience to see whatever it is you want to see. If you've finished the video and you can't quite remember what I said about a certain thing, video description, click on that timestamp. It'll take you right there to that section. Okay, let's just talk about me for a second, and we'll get to the more academic stuff towards the end of the video. First, I just bought a new house. I'm sitting in the house right now. And with that new house, I also invested in completely new hardware. The webcam that I'm speaking to right now, the microphone that I'm speaking into right now, the monitor that I'm looking at, my keyboard and my computer is all brand new, and I got it as top of the line as I could afford. The reason for that is because whenever school closed down over in spring break of last year, and I was paying attention to the news, and it started to snowball, and everything seemed to just kind of get worse and worse. And I really was not sure whether I would be able to teach in the classroom or not. And the equipment that I had at the time was just a winky-dink little laptop with not such a good webcam. And I knew that if I had to teach your students on the technology that I had available at the time, it would be a miserable experience for everybody, for me to use it and for them to have to sit through what I've made. So not only did I go out and get an entirely new system, I've also invested a lot in different types of software that I believe can make the viewing experience and the lessons a lot better. So I'm going to beg you to be patient with me because I'm learning how to use those, and it's a lot to learn. Let me tell you, I've never done this before, but I really hope that I can give high quality lessons with all of the stuff that I've acquired. And the reason is because I love learning. I absolutely love learning. I do my best to teach, and I love seeing other people learn. That's why I'm doing this. People will say that we're not limited by our technology, but we really are in this day and age. So I just want to give your students the best so that I can fulfill my purpose, my dream of being the best possible teacher I can be. Let's talk about my qualifications. I was a graduate from the University of Houston, class of 2014, go Cougs, and I majored in economics and political science. In economics, I got a perfect 4.0, and in political science, I got like a 3.9998 or something like that. It was really high up there, and that's why I was the valedictorian of the class of 2014. I just enjoyed it. I enjoy school, always have. And what I really want to bring to the table is that enjoyment, and I want other people to enjoy it as much as I do. This is my second year of teaching. I taught at BHS last year as well. But if you count the co-teaching that I did as a student teacher, then I guess it would be my third year of teaching. And if you count the 2 years that I was a substitute before I had my certificate, it would be my fifth year of teaching. Personal history, just in case you're wondering about like who I am. I also was a BHS graduate. I was class of 2011, and I believe I was like 9th or 10th in a class of over 1,000 students. I took 8 advanced placement courses and I think like 2 or 3 dual enrollment courses. And because of my success in those courses, I was able to graduate under the DAP, the Distinguished Achievement Program. After I graduated from high school, I immediately went to the University of Houston. I had to work several jobs while I was doing that. I worked 3 jobs while I was going to school because I didn't come from a lot of money and didn't have really a way of paying for it unless I just pulled up my bootstraps and did it. In the last year of my college experience, I worked as a caseworker in a congressional office. I worked in the House of Representatives, and I did that for a year. I got another job at an oil and gas company doing research. And between those two jobs, I was actually able to extinguish all of my student loans, and I was debt-free within a few months of graduating college. So so whenever I was the oil and gas researcher, the gas economy kind of plummeted a little bit, and they had to let me go because the gas prices went down. They said they'd hire me back, but I'm not the kind of person to sit on my thumbs. I went and got a commercial driver's license, and I decided to become an over-the-road truck driver, which I did. I drove big rigs, double trailer, 18-wheelers over the country, over I think like 25 or something different states, 6 days a week, 14 hours, and I did that for 2 years. But I knew that it wasn't the job for me. It was temporary. I guess sometime when I was in the truck, I really just found that I wanted to be back in the school system. I wanted to learn and teach. And so I can't do that when I'm sitting in the truck all day. So I quit that job and started working on getting my teaching certificate. And while I was getting certified, I took up a part-time job with elder care, working in a assisted living facility. As far as personal interests, my biggest interest, my biggest passion in life actually is not teaching. Teaching's my second. My biggest passion is church and scripture, and I go to church every week. I always want to try to be the best person I can be. Now, church, teaching, then my third interest, travel. It must have been Boy Scouts. I was a Boy Scout back in the day, and I became an Eagle Scout when I was 16 years old. And I think that doing the Eagle Scout program allowed me to just broaden my horizons and expanded my interests, especially in traveling. I've been to 8 countries so far, uh, including the United States. So there's the United States. I went to Japan, South Korea, Mongolia, Portugal, Spain, France, and Costa Rica, and I am looking to expand that list. I want to go everywhere. I want to see everything. There's just simply not enough time in the world for me to do everything I want to do. Another interest of mine is literature. I have enormous bookshelves. I actually had an entire library in my classroom last year, and I would let students borrow those books if they wanted. That way we could geek out about some books. Unfortunately, I have to take my library home. We're not allowed to share books anymore. So, sorry about that, future students who are avid readers. We can still geek out about them. I have a strong commitment to my health and fitness. Mr. Smith, who's another Algebra 2 teacher, I go to the gym with him to work out frequently. We're good buddies, good friends. I played soccer. I was in gymnastics. I was in basketball, but I was super short and couldn't jump very high, so that one puttered out real quick. High adventure stuff. In my youth, I got to do a lot of canoeing, kayaking, rock climbing, spelunking, archery, scuba diving, you name it. It was just the best experience of my life, and I'm still interested in all those things. On the little bit nerdier side, I am also a big fan of anime and a big fan of tabletop RPGs, role-playing games. So if you have students who are interested in that, we can probably kind of like hook up with our geek culture as a point of interest. Okay, that's enough about me. I've talked about myself way too much. Let's talk about courses. Let's talk about school. Let's talk about academics. I teach 3 courses. I teach geometry, I teach algebra 2, and I teach pre-AP algebra 2. As far as norms, I'm sure that you guys want to know the norms. I myself want to know the norms. This is a completely new experience, and I'm sure a lot of teachers are saying the same thing in their own personal videos, but there are a few things that we can expect. I can tell you that when your student walks into the classroom for the very first time, they're going to think that it's been evacuated. It looks empty, way empty compared to last year. Last year I had a class of 32 students in one classroom. This year, the max classroom size allowed is 18, and the desks have all been separated by 6 feet. So just to maintain our social distancing protocols. So the classrooms are going to look sterile. They're going to look empty. It's going to sound quiet, I'm sure. It's definitely going to be different. It's going to be different. Masks. That's going to be a norm. Absolutely going to be a norm. I'll be wearing a mask every day. Your students will be wearing a mask every day, and that's not something we can fool around with. Whether you take it seriously or not, I've got a mom that I visit every weekend, and I would never dream of putting her at risk. I'll be wearing the mask, and I will insist that the students wear the mask as well. So that's going to be a part of our norms. Another norm, fully charged Chromebooks. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff online. Now I can't share school supplies. Not only can I not share my personal library, I can't pass out pencils and pens. I can't pass out my extra sheets of paper. It's kind of upsetting. I had actually invested a ton of my own personal money in a lot of school supplies that I was going to give to students next year, and I can't do that anymore. The way that we have to deal with not having those school supplies is either they're going to have to use it, they're going to have to bring their own personal school supplies for their own personal use, or they're going to have to get this stuff done on their Chromebooks, which that's the way that I'm going to be taking most of my assignments up. A lot of the lessons will have audio, audio lessons, video lessons, and so they need to have earbuds with them, fully charged Chromebooks and earbuds. So as far as classroom agreements, and this is stuff that we're going to be going over on the first day of class. All students need to maintain respectful boundaries. I don't want kids coming up to me. I don't want to be going up to your kids just to stay on the safe side. I'm definitely going to be asking for students to have a lot of patience with me. I'm learning a lot. They're going to be learning a lot. It's going to be a very new experience for all of us. So patience is going to be a mutual agreement. I will be very patient with my students. I'll do everything I can to make sure their grades are where both the students and the parents want them to be. As long as the students are very understanding about all of this new stuff that us teachers are going through as well. Another agreement is, yeah, I know we're doing digital learning, but please, no phones. No phones unless directed. There will be opportunities to use the phones in my class, but I don't want them to be a distraction. There's already going to be enough distractions. There's already going to be enough temptations. A phone is just one more thing. Yes, your students can bring phones to my class. No, they cannot be on their phones unless I tell them it's okay, and they need to ask permission. Sometimes I'll say yes. Sometimes I'll say no. It just needs to be established that they can't just pull it out whenever they want to. Every day when they come into class, I'm going to have warm-ups for them to do. It's on a program called Delta Math. It's an automated and timed simple math problem exercise website. And it will really strengthen their arithmetic, which is necessary for geometry and algebra. And so I think it's a good place to start every day just to kind of get the minds warmed up. We're going to have to spend a lot of time learning to use the technology that's going to be available and the software and the in-browser experiences. So the second day of class is going to be spent on a program called Schoology. I like to say Schoology, but everyone else is saying Schoology, so I guess that's what it is. Schoology is like a combination or an amalgamation of Google Classroom, Edugence, Edgenuity, Skyward. It's like bundling everything up into one. And it's going to be a little bit of a new thing that's everyone finds it hard to learn a new thing at first, but I've been working with it for a few days now, maybe a week or two now, and it seems like a good program. I'm actually really excited to start like putting it to the test, the full use, and just see what we can do with it. So I really hope your students find it convenient as well. And also parents. I think that we can make a parent group and we can all make discussions on Schoology together. So the third day of school is going to be Ingenuity or Edgenuity. And that's where a lot of the course is posted. So we're just going to be familiarizing ourselves with that on the third day of class. And then after we get all of this this routine, procedures, technology established, we're gonna jump right in, and it's gonna be a fast-paced lesson. Geometry, you guys are going to be starting with definitions and the language of geometry, the basics of Euclidean geometry. You'll learn what that means. You'll learn who Euclid was. Algebra 2, we're going to be starting with functions. It's going to be more of like an Algebra 1 review, and we're going to be doing domain and range. I think that's just about it. I'm sorry for keeping you guys for so long. I hope you found it enjoyable. I hope you learned a little bit more about me. I hope you're a little bit more comfortable. But if you have concerns, if you have questions, there is a Google form. Every teacher has a Google form prepared. The link is in the description. So just click on that link and ask any questions, post any concerns. I'll do my very best to address those questions and those concerns. So I guess that wraps up my Meet the Teacher. So have a nice one.